Back to Bettermindz Interrupting Podcast. We got some good stuff, and hopefully we'll have a special guest pop in if he's able to come and join us. If not, you know how we do. We can gear it. We got it. But I also would like to say welcome to Maria, Brown Girl Interrupting.
Hey, well, it's nice to see you this evening, Trini, for our Better Minds Interrupting. I'm excited. And I'm also really excited because before we get into it, I have to say, I realized that today is the start of Aquarius season. And I know a pretty damn cool Aquarius whose birthday is coming up next week, I believe. Is that right, Miss Trini? Miss Lovely T?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
I am turning 41 on the 25th. The 40 club.
We are the 40 and, wait, hold on. 40 and fabulous club. Let's please be clear. Let's please be clear.
That's right.
So well, and I have to say, one of the things, I know we're talking about personalities tonight, and one of the things that I learned about Aquarius is that you are bound to humanitarian work and doing and being for others. And that just really encompasses who you are as Lovely T in spiritual healing. So I had to put that out there for our fans so they just know who you are in the core.
Thank you. That is such an honor to hear that from you. I love it. What's up, Kennedy?
What's up, Kennedy? You know, we always love a good salute from you and having you here in the chat.
All day. Okay, so what's the personality? Well, that's the topic. Well, what's up with this personality stuff? Do you know there are 10 types of personality disorders?
10?
10.
Damn. Wait, I feel like I'm gonna need a notebook when I meet people now to be like, which one do you feel like?
Exactly.
So and all of them are disorders. All of them are disorders. Damn.
Instead of being like, what the type of person you are? What's the personality? Like, hold up, let me check who you are. Let me check these characteristics. But tonight we're gonna focus on one type of personality disorder that is major. It's starting to become known wide, and you're starting to hear a lot of people have a lot of issues and may think that either they are narcissists or their partner or people they deal with, whether it's at work, friends, are narcissists. So you guessed it, we're talking about narcissism.
Woo-hoo. Oh, Soul Kitchen. Hello, ladies. Better Minds and Brown Girl Interrupting. Let's go. Thank you for being here. That is our lovely Brandy here with Soul Kitchen.
Hello, Brandy.
Narcissism. Kennedy says, I'm sure whatever personality it is, I got that shit. LOL.
Okay, Kennedy.
Wait, I'm sure we're going to see it in the chat. It's all going to come out in the chat. We know.
We're going to see. Okay. So we're going to go through 4 types of narcissism personality.
Ooh, there's 4 of them?
4. But before we go into the personality, let me describe what narcissistic personality is, according to meetmarnick.com. I just had to throw this out because I found it interesting that they characterized it as such. Okay. What is narcissistic personality? It is characterized by having a grand sense of importance of feeling superior to others. They exaggerate their capabilities or achievements. Most live in fantasy world, full of distortions and imaginary success, brilliance, and power. Keyword, imaginary. The fantasies protect them from the reality of emptiness and powerlessness. Narcissists need to be admired and praised all the time. The need to feed the ego makes them surround themselves with people who admire and praise them. Most narcissists are exploitive people without a sense of shame or guilt. Their lack of empathy makes them take advantage of others without remorse. Narcissists often demand, bully, or intimidate others who they feel have challenged their status. They may also show disdain or outright contempt towards challengers as a way of massaging their hurting ego.
That ego, that ego is like all over narcissism, isn't it?
Yeah, so that's the definition of that narcissistic personality.
But like that definition, Trini, is heavy.
It's
That's
heavy.
heavy. And I think that's why we're hearing so much about it, because like it's not just the disorder, it's like the impact on that disorder on others. And I'm gonna say, in total transparency, I wasn't triggered, but I was definitely like a little bit I was a little bit nervous about this conversation because I have a pretty intimate understanding of some narcissistic personalities in my life, and they have had a real impact that I've been undoing for about 3 years now. So it's heavy. It's heavy. I think, all the words you said: superior, exaggeration, distorted views of themselves, the need to be admired. And I know you mentioned some things about how they manipulate. I don't think you used the word manipulate, but it sounded a lot like manipulation of relationships with people, and the way people respond to them is really important in how they move through the world. And it all comes back to their ego and insecurity that leads to that ego. If I'm covering it all. But I know we're gonna go deeper into all of it. But
we gotta go in no trenches.
But I think, we always got to think about what's the impact of it, because that's the real deal, and that's where we feel it. And namaste to you too, Redemption here. Namaste. We are so glad you're here. Tennessee, of course, I'm a narcissist. LOL. I love me.
Being a narcissist is more than so now.
Ooh. So,
yeah, sounds like most of the Black youth too. Yeah, everybody is a narcissist. Look at my stuff. This is what, give me attention. I'm better than that channel. We don't do that here, but the mind's interrupting. What we do is grow together.
Yes, grow together, right? And reflect on ourselves to know what kind of disorders we might be harboring so that we can let them go, right?
Exactly. So you may feel like you may be a narcissist. You may not be. You may know someone that may. You may have one of these characteristics or all four. You never know. But let's discuss this first one. This is our narcissist. 4 types of narcissists. So the first one is the grand narcissist. He up there.
He like the grand pooba. He or she, I'm sorry, there's no gender. There's no gender in narcissism disorder. It's all.
This is not just for men. This is for man and woman.
Everyone.
And some of y'all need to know that narcissism can be hereditary. In what way? In a teachable way. If you have a narcissist parent, you're learning their ways. And you're becoming like them. So
it's like the nature versus nurture kind of thing. So it's the imprinting situation. Yep. Like if you are raised by a narcissist, you may have narcissistic tendencies. Maybe not the entire personality disorder, but narcissistic tendencies.
That's right. So the grand narcissists, they are extroverted, charming, bold, and attention-seeking narcissists. They are entitled, exploitive, callous, self-absorbed, and highly aggressive. Some of them are abusive, arrogant, and disdainful towards others. They have high self-esteem and satisfaction with life. Do you know this person?
Do I know some grand poobas? Oh yeah. I know some grand I know some grand narcissists, but I think that is like the movie level narcissism, it sounds like, almost, right? Like, so you may not probably see it so outwardly. I think that it's more likely that you're going to meet maybe some of these other descriptions you're going to give me than it is to meet that. That's like the Cadillac of narcissism, right? Like,
Was that high
and
esteem
the
ego?
high ego, right? Like, that's truly, 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 like, the world just revolves around me narcissism,
That's
right?
right. I see that we've seen some comments come past.
Yeah.
Yep. Kennedy say, I think we are all narcissists on some level. Yes. We have a little bit. We dab in and out. We dab just a little bit.
And some are just being at just better at being one, Kennedy says. So yeah, I mean,
Or more humble.
and Redemption
Product
says
of
we're
one's
product
environment.
of one's environment. Yeah.
Yes. That sound like them parents that be like, not my child. Yes, ma'am. Your child is a devil. Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. You taught them how to be like that. Tell them something, not my child. You know what you did.
That
Okay.
apple does not fall far. Not fall
It
far.
It does not fall far from the tree. Okay, so the second one, for no damn reason, narcissistic behavior. That's y'all lighten it up.
Yo, this chat is blowing up. Y'all know some narcissists for sure, or y'all are narcissists for sure. We got some extra energy going on in the chat today.
I see. Okay,
All
so
right.
the second narcissist, malignant narcissists. They are aggressive and cruel, as well as paranoid, sadistic, and perverted. Malignant narcissists find pleasure in humiliating others and creating chaos. They are the most psychopathic narcissists and manifest antisocial behaviors. What does that look like? You act anti. You don't like talking to others, but you will portray that you do. You're a little aggressive, but you're kind of sneaky. You hide behind doors, but you're never seen in the dark. Not even an attitude, because everybody got to look at you with light.
So it's not as grandiose as the Grand Poobah situation. It's more understated outwardly, it sounds like, but it sounds like real, like, dark though. Really dark, right?
Yeah,
like you described some pretty intense, like, manipulation, like that's like almost, like, I don't know, like almost evilish, right? Like it really is, like it's sadistic. Is that the word you used, in fact, tonight?
Yes.
Damn, yeah, Ranters Union, we are going in tonight. I saw that. And Redemption, because they are going to do dirt themselves. Yeah.
That's true.
They are.
That's true. They're doing the dirt themselves. Throw rocks and hide your hand tight.
Yes. What's up with these big words and shit?
Kennedy, I gotta teach y'all. We gotta go.
Kennedy,
we gotta be there sometimes.
We bettering the minds and interrupting your thoughts. We got to do that with the big words, right? Damn Trinity and Brown girl narcissists, they using big words and shit. Yes.
So yes, it's that paranoia stage. You're paranoid because, as someone mentioned in the chat, because they're doing dirt themselves. That's the paranoid. That's why they stay in the dark and some evilness.
So it's like deflection though, right? Because it's like, if I put this on you, then I don't have to hold on to it, right? So my darkness, I'm going to see it in you. I'm going to tell you, you have that. You're doing this. You're manipulating me, or you're being whatever it is, you're being negative, or you're being whatever, right? Like, but they're trying to pull you in by telling you actually what their emotion, their personality is.
Right. So let me create chaos. Let me humiliate the other person. Because I'm paranoid that if I'm found out, I'm be looked at in a different way that I don't want to be looked at.
So
or that means I gotta own up to something I'm doing and I'm not ready to do that either.
like smoke and mirrors, right? Or what is it? It's sleight of hand, right? So I'm gonna do this over here, so you don't see what's happening over here.
There you
All
go.
this chaos going on, and I'm a move pieces, and I'm a be sneaky.
That's
So
right.
you
That's
don't
that wolf
see
and
the
sheep.
sneakiness.
That's that wolf and sheep. Who dressed in the clothing?
No, I would say there's a whole lot of those out there.
There is.
Whole lot of those out there.
That's where a lot of drama, rumors, unnecessary things happen.
I think also that tends to coincide often with infidelity sometimes. I think like there's a real connection between that and dating and relationships and the way that people try to manipulate circumstances to make you think that something is not happening even though it is happening.
Exactly. So are we lost?
But it's controlling,
did you get
right?
confused?
So,
can
right.
narcissism be treated? Guess what?
That's a great question.
I was going to answer that at the end, and I still am. I'm going to have you holding on to that thought because it's interesting. Very interesting. Candace, am I a narcissist if I peep when the motherfucker on that BS and check them? Just saying. Well, no, that's not what a narcissist is. You're holding somebody accountable. That's what you're doing. And that's being a good damn friend, holding somebody accountable if they, got too much crap going on. But a true narcissist is all about their character. No matter what type you are, you all about your character. And it cannot be tarnished at all, under no circumstances, no matter how big or small that negative is.
So everyone's got to think you're a saint, not a sinner.
Right.
So that you can continue sinning
That's
in the
right.
dark. So Redemption had a comment just now. I want to make sure we get to it. Yes, requires introspection and a lot of work on oneself, for sure, right? And that's part of that work.
That's right.
But Trini, you were just about to say something.
I was about to say, I forgot.
Well, we were talking about the sinning in the dark, if that reminds you what you were thinking about.
It doesn't,
Okay.
but it's okay.
Right.
It's going to come to me.
But that's okay. Okay, so you said, so we have two more though, right? Before we go to those two more.
But before we go into the two more, we're going to go to a commercial break. And this commercial will entitle what I will be providing next month. Check it out. Welcome to Yomi, a yoga meditation program. Yomi, life attunement. You will learn to balance your 7 chakras. about self-improvement and self-acceptance. Using meditation to clear your thoughts.
Yummy.
It will help you gain strength and flexibility. Maximize your self-confidence. Okay, so as y'all seen, me and Mario, we're working on your mental, but there's more that's inside that we got to work on as well, which is your 7 chakras. That's going to help you line up to your top of the crown. And the purpose is so that you not only balance mentally, but you're also balanced emotionally and physically. So as we go into our days, you'll see more, and I will share the link to the first day of the first chakra that you must learn. And it's some powerful stuff, I'm telling y'all. It's a way to start to become grounded so that you can shine as the bright being as you are.
And I gotta say, it's important to recognize that I am living, walking proof of the way that the work that Trini does with chakras really, really does make a difference. To the point of literally this week, Trini, we had a conversation on chakras, and you gave me some advice and some conversation and walked me through a moment where I was all over the place. And going back to our conversation on narcissists and the impact is I have been undoing some serious impacts on that. And the chakra work is truly, truly, truly going to help in if you've ever been impacted by any kind of manipulation or narcissism or anything that's harmful to you and your soul and your light, because it brings it back to you for sure. And Trini is the one to go to. She's amazing. She's amazing. She's grounding, and I gotta say it. I gotta say it every time because it impacts me on a daily basis.
Thank you for that. She's so kind. She is kind. Okay, so do you know a narcissist in your life? From the first two characteristics. Thank you, Brandy. From them 2 characteristics, do you know a narcissist?
Do I?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
From those 2 categories.
From those 2. So from those 2 categories, I would say I can pull some pieces from those 2. I wouldn't say that the narcissist that is in my head right now is identifiable by necessarily the 2 descriptions you gave. So I'm curious to know the other 2 because I'm wondering if they are almost like the watered down version of those or like the combination of those maybe. I don't know. I'm curious to know now. What else do we have in the narcissism world that comes out?
Okay, so you kind of leaped into the third one with the last statement you said. So the third narcissist is the communal narcissist. They are warm, relatable, and agreeable persons who want other people to view them as supportive and trustworthy. They are outgoing and try to manipulate others through kindness and friendliness. They are very outgoing and love publicity. They seek power, grandiosity, and esteem through giving and helpfulness.
Oh yeah,
now, that
sounds so see now I got the picture painted. Yeah.
Don't that sound so positive though? That sounds real.
Oh yeah, because I think that's the one where it's all the outward, external things that others see. Because those are the narcissists that you get they can maintain the image, and then internally in their relationships, in their families, in their homes, there's a whole different tone and culture and way of being that is not at all aligned with that. But no one will believe that because everyone sees the outward, communal, connective, family connect, positive, helpful person. Yeah, politicians, Josh
Cult
said, and
leaders. He
cult
said cult leaders.
leaders.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if y'all
Husbands, wives,
girl,
boyfriends,
yes.
girlfriends. Yep. For sure, redemption, prosperity preachers, all of it.
All of that. Jamal Bryant. Yes. Okay. So, but why is that negative?
Because it's not the real person, right?
Ooh, you're not authentic.
It's not authentic. It's a show.
You got all these lies behind you. You're telling the
Derek Jackson, Fair Georgia, right? Whew.
You got all these lies behind you, but you making your world seem like it's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
I'm laughing at y'all in these comments. Yes, you're making it seem perfect, right? So,
but so can I ask? Okay, so this is my question because I got the why question. Is the why because if you make the world seem perfect, when someone calls you out on your narcissism, when someone calls you out on that opposite personality that they experience, no one will believe you, and you will seem like you live in a delusional world because they see the magnanimous, they see the family person, they see the great father, the great mother, the brother, the one that everybody can count on, right? And the battle scars of what the opposite of that is internally.
Mm-hmm. That's right. That's right. That's what we get a lot of these, how can I say it? Pedophiles.
Yeah, it's grooming. It's the idea of grooming, right? But grooming goes beyond just pedophiles and and abuse but it is abuse, but it's like, yeah, they do it to kids. But I think adults do it to adults.
Yeah, of course. That was just a small example. Because when you see a pedophile get accused, you look at them, you see them, you don't see what they're being accused of. You see what I'm saying? Because they put in a light, I'm a great coach. I wouldn't do this. I do this, that, and the third for these girls or these boys and blah, blah, blah. You wouldn't see that. So when you come out on me, sometimes I got a whole group of people that got my back that's holding me down because they believe my lies that I done manipulated them to believe. Meanwhile, the other person is getting all but wrath because you're looked at as the liar when you're not. But that narcissist made sure you stay looking like that.
Yeah. So and just bringing it back to like the everyday lives of like everyone, right? I think I saw this on someone that the guest that we were going to have on that I know wasn't able to make it, but Kingpin had mentioned like in divorces, right? When you go to court, when you're married to a narcissist, that you should document everything because you cannot prove that kind of stuff, right? And those are often the people who end up in a courtroom and they put on a persona of, I am holier than thou. I could never have done anything to harm anyone. And if there's no record of things, they'll believe it. And that often screws you over. Or screws whoever it is over, right?
Yes, it does. It does. That's why documentation, people, which is sad. I saw on the news. Now, this got to be the most narcissist crap I've seen. That this girl had a regular gathering, get together. You know, she just hanging with her friends, girl nights out. You know, when you be girls sitting, you know, women chatting and sitting around, chilling and hanging and talking and gossiping. Guess what homegirl did? She gave each and every one of her friends, one but 3, 4 of them, an NDA.
Wait, a non-disclosure agreement for
That's
a
right.
conversation with their friend?
That's right. That's the most narcissist. Why you giving me this? You don't want me to out you on something? What you about to say that you don't want nobody to find out?
That is like the craziest friend decision. I mean, like a non-disclosure agreement as a friend. Wow. Soul
Guess
Kitchen
what?
said,
That's the
yes.
same day.
Narcissists are suffering deeply. Yep, Brandy, they are. And redemption's a damn. Mm-hmm. Who
Right,
does that, right? Redemption, for sure.
That is a major narcissist fact. Like, oh, we can't be friends after that. I'm gonna have to be, because I don't need to know secrets.
Yes. Yes.
One, and you're not gonna put me in the space to be accountable for some BS you about to start or may create.
But you know what? Redemption said it, right? Narcissists will have you believing you're the problem. They're expert mind fuckers.
Ooh, you think they not?
God, yeah. Oh, God, yeah. Yeah, they are.
Great manipulators of the world.
Yeah, they are.
Okay. So that was the third one. Here's the fourth one. This is the vulnerable narcissist.
Ooh.
How can a narcissist be vulnerable? You think about it. How can they?
Oh no, I could see this one. Okay,
you see it?
I'm a hear, but you know, like I said, I got some intimate knowledge of personalities.
Okay, here we go. They are introverted, self-assertive, manipulative, explosive, entitled, and very aggressive. Their introversion is largely driven by fear of criticism. Persons with this type of narcissism lack anatomy and often adopt an imposter syndrome. Most of them are insecure and discontent with their lives. Some may experience mental disorders such as shame, anxiety, hypersensitivity, and guilt. Most of them often feel threatened and are distrustful of others. How can a narcissist be distrustful?
Well, I get that. No, but I get that. Like if your ego is so big and your insecurities are so big, then you are distrustful. So the only person you trust is yourself. You believe you're the only one who's capable. So I'm not sure how that fits into the vulnerability part, but I could definitely see how that distrustfulness comes in. I'm still struggling a little bit with this vulnerability one. I have it's just interesting the words you use to describe it. So tell me, when you heard that and you read that, Redemption says, is it self-hate? Okay, all right, that's a good question. Is it self-hate? But what did you think when you read that, Trini? Like, how did it hit you in your understanding of narcissism?
Okay, so vulnerability. That means you are open to show your true emotions, right? And the distrust part, maybe this narcissist shown in the past emotions that got criticized and it didn't feel good. From that point on, they never showed it again. I took this as a narcissist that only operates in the imposter syndrome. And for those that don't know what imposter syndrome is, it's you telling yourself, I can't, I won't, I don't see it, I'm this, I'm not this. It's all negativity. You won't even make a move because you feel like, oh, I'm not going to be able to do this. I don't think this is the right fit. That's imposter syndrome. You putting yourself dead. You're making yourself an imposter. So with them experience shame and guilt, it tends to come out as a narcissist. It tends to come out if you sit back and watch. They'll show it more than say it.
Does
that's where the vulnerability come out at in their actions.
And are their actions still controlling actions and manipulative actions? What's up, Simone? Ladies, it's nice to see you, Simone. Glad to have you in the chat.
Simone. So yes, dysfunctional projection. Yes,
yeah,
exactly what.
And there was something else Redemption said. I don't know if we can throw that back up in the chat, but I think it was a good point. Trying to fit the image of an imaginary person or the perceived best version of self. So that's that idea of the imposter syndrome that.
Yes, that is it. Yes. So, right, can't be wrong. You're strong. And so, when you experience, when they're in that vulnerable state, it's almost like I'm going to tell my true self, but in a different kind of way, which might be putting the other person character at bay. Like it might get a little tarnished. It might, but that's my vulnerable. That's as much as I'm gonna get, because a vulnerable narcissist does the opposite.
So it's pulling the emotional piece back a little bit, right? So I'm pulling back my emotional vulnerability because of my insecurities, and I'm controlling the situation by not allowing myself to be vulnerable. I mean, I'm really trying to unpack this, because honestly, I'm stuck. I'm stuck. I'm really trying to understand it.
You're asking the right questions, because a narcissist is not vulnerable. They don't open up and show their true feelings, their true emotions.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But there are some, like Kennedy said earlier, depending on how good of a narcissist you are. Because some just aren't that good. Some is just like, okay, I'm only a narcissist in controlling my true emotions. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a narcissist to other people or anything else, but because I experienced a mental disorder of shame, anxiety, hypersensitivity, and guilt. Because I experienced these things, I'm pulling back my emotion. I'm vulnerable, so you won't get my truth. And I will be a narcissist to keep my shit at bay, because I had distrustful experiences in the past. That's what makes that one a vulnerable narcissist. He or she.
Right. Well, it looks like we might have some expertise on narcissism coming in, because our guest is here.
Okay.
Do we want to go ahead and transition to our guest?
Yes, bring him in. His name is Kingpin.
Welcome.
Welcome. We are so excited to have you come aboard. And we was going through some narcissism, which we know you talk about, and you're very good. But before you go into it, would you like to introduce yourself to the platform?
I can barely hear you what you're saying. Yeah,
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
no, I can barely hear you.
Maria, can you say something?
Can you hear
Can you hear me?
me? We can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can barely hear y'all.
Okay.
Do you have headphones? Do you think maybe that might?
Uh,
Um,
I, I have a iPhone. I don't have the what you call it.
okay.
So, since he having trouble hearing us, we're very low. Can you hear? Is your sound good now?
Yeah, I can barely hear, but I'm fine. I can hear.
Okay. So, introduce yourself to the platform. Tell everybody who you are.
Well, do we use names or what?
Yeah, use your
Yeah.
name.
I really don't like using names, but
That's fine. Use whatever you
Whatever
choose.
you're comfortable with.
Yeah.
well, like I said, I like to keep it like this. It's better. There's a lot of privacy issues going on TikTok, privacy issues. So we'll just leave it like that. Basically, I have a military experience over 13 years, Marine Corps. Um, I first started suffering from PTSD since 2003 after the Iraq War in 2003, 2004, 2005. And after that, that's when I started getting involved or did not know that I was dealing with um, these types of relationships. It took a while to realize that I had been in these relationships. And I grew up in the church. I'm a Christian I'm Baptist Christian. I grew up in the church, going to church every Sunday, every Wednesday, every holiday, every New Year's. And I followed God a lot, and I still believe in God, but, we stray, we go back and forth. And like I said, it's funny the way God calls us to his attention, and we don't notice it till later on in life, and then we slowly, excuse me, we slowly start seeing what God is telling us. And the reason why I started this TikTok channel is because my last previous relationship was the worst. I mean, not the worst, but it was a toxic, covert. That's how bad it was. It was a toxic, covert relationship, and like I said, if you're dealing from PTSD, you don't see the symptoms, but you slowly start catching on. And this both applies to both women and men. So it's if you do not teach yourself or you do not teach others or you don't educate yourself, you're gonna continue the cycle of getting in these relationships because as a person we want to help people because that's what we're taught. Help the needy, help the weak, help the humble, and you're not expecting nothing in return. You never do. But the outcome of it is you're left with wondering what happened or what did you do or what you could have done better or why did that person do what they did when you put in so much, you know? So yeah, basically I'm 46 years, 46, going to be 47 this year. And I have a little bit of education in my background. I have a bachelor's degree in criminal justice, and I have a master's degree in business, but the concentration is project management. If you have any other questions, I mean, I'm open to it. I know I have a lot of different topics that I talk about in my channel, and I take it to heart because it's my experience, and it's funny how everything just starts clicking And when you start meeting people, you push yourself away because
Mm.
we, as positive thinkers, when we start hearing negative things, we automatically push ourselves back because our mind is not set on being negative. We're more focused on being positive, you know?
That's
Mm.
true. That is true. What one question I have, and then we have to move on to a special announcement Mario needs to make. But one question I have for you is the experience in your last relationship dealing
Uh,
with a narcissist person, which is a female, and this is
yes.
coming from a male perspective. What trait did you ignore that would have helped you move along?
Well, I can tell you like this: every narcissist, covert, toxic, they all have the same traits. That's the thing about it. Every narcissist, man or woman that you're gonna meet in your life, except for some, there's some are real. The covert ones are the ones that are real sneaky.
Mm.
They'll take you to parties, they'll take you to bars, and that's when they start doing what they like to do. But your regular mom, pops, the like I said, the last one, um, the signs, like I said, they're hard to um to see when you're dealing with PTSD or CPTSD. In my situation, is PTSD because when you're dealing with PTSD, you're dealing with your constant issues all the times. But once you get in that relationship, you start noticing those things, and some of the signs you miss are the comments that they make. They can be just basic,
Mm.
regular comments that don't mean nothing, but then they start amping it up more. They start making more of those negatory comments toward you. And as a man, we men don't look at it like as a big deal. But the minute that you start saying something to them back, that's when they start getting more offensive. They start criticizing you more because they know that they got to you. That's that trigger. They
Mm.
know that they got to you. Um, the bad habits, um, like I said, a lot of them cover them up, and you don't know till later on. Like, wait a minute, you like to drink, but they don't do it in front of you. Or they like to do, illegal drugs. They don't do that in front of you, but you slowly start catching on to the habits that they have, and it's not as a bad habit or bad drug. Marijuana is not a bad drug, but it's still illegal, right? But it slowly starts to they slowly start to expose these things, and you're like, well, why do you do it again? And that's when they start to to show themselves. Another one that I noticed is the love bombing. They, like a man or a woman, they want to be all over you. And as a man and a woman, we want affection. We want to be touched. We want to be caressed. But we get lost in transition or that heat of the moment that you don't think about that. And that's how they get you back or get you into that relationship because you're thinking, oh, I'm gonna get this every day, every night, it's like in the mind of a man, that's how we think. You know, women think a little bit more different. I'm not trying to sound biased, but those are the things that if they're moving too fast and we're not catching on to that, that's how we get hooked into that relationship. You know, I hope
Mm.
I'm, I hope you, I hope,
Yeah.
you know,
That was good.
No,
That
I
was
think those are
good.
really good points. And first, can I just say thank you so much for sharing your story. I think clearly, the added experience of coming into a relationship where you're
hmm
already going through your own harm, your own healing of
hmm
experiencing PTSD, to then be with someone who really exposes that, right? And
hmm
and leverages your pain to help them feel better.
Oh
And
yeah.
I think you said that, right? Like, I think two of the points that you brought up really, they resonated for me, but it's that the thing with narcissism that you don't always see it right away is because it's a slow breaking down. It's like
There you go.
chipping away at you
Hmm.
in externally until it becomes internal, and
Yes.
taking and stripping you of any confidence you have, any knowledge of your self-worth, any understanding of your ability to be good and light in the world. And they take all that, because once they take that, they have control of you. And that's when they start to let out those personalities, those small
Hmm.
pieces of themselves, right? Where they take that control, right?
Hmm.
And that I mean, that's it. That it isn't visible to
Hmm.
the naked eye, and it takes a long time sometimes for people to even
Hmm.
realize, I think, like from what you said, that you're with a narcissist.
Hmm.
um,
And
that doesn't happen right away. It's not like you like see them and you're like, oh, they're a narcissist, that's it, right? Like, it's never,
mhm,
it's more covert. I think those
mhm,
are much more common and
mhm.
much more detrimental in some ways.
Now the thing that I forgot to mention is that the other two signs, or the three or four signs that we miss, are our parents.
Mm-hmm.
If your mom or your dad tell you that that person's too good to be too good for you, that's a sign.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big factor. If your friends that are not covert, that are not narcissists, that your regular friends you grew up with, they're gonna tell you right off the back, hey, that person's not good for you, but you're gonna ignore them. The most important thing that we have to look at with dealing with these people is the God signs. God is gonna send you a lot of signs from my experience, and I ignored them.
Mm,
And you are not going to pay attention to them because you are focused on one goal. As a man, what does a man want from a woman? And when a woman, what does a woman want from a man? So our mind is automatically clouded because and I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. We're trying to get ass, right? So the woman is doing the same thing too, but they do it in a little bit more covert way. But as a man, we're looking to get something out of it, and that's the fact. That's the big miss sign, is that God is going to throw you different signs because this narcissist knows it's something about them that's like, I've seen a lot of TikTok channels and it kind of makes sense. Is that they say the psychological definition of a narcissist means that they're troubled individuals that have been traumatized from childhood through traumatic events, and psychology labels them to be mentally unstable, meaning that they have problems in their brain that did not develop correctly. Well, in the demonic world, they're considered, individuals that can easily be manipulated by the devil entities or bad spirits. And they, for like I said, for I'm listening and to a lot of TikTok channels, and they consider them demonic. It kind of, it's true because that like, if like I said, if you see my channels, that trauma bond is so strong that if you're with that narcissist for a duration more than 3 or 4 years, it's going to be so strong that they're going to know when, where, what you're doing, everything. They don't even have to call you. They know where you're. Hey, you're at work. Yeah, how do you know that? Oh yeah, you're over here. It's that thing that I can't really explain it, but it's there, because they know how to keep you on that grip, that word of keeping that bond, that chain bond on you. And their main mission is to keep you focused on them. Like I said in my videos, the worst one was my first encounter with the mother of my son. That was a very, very, very covert because I did not see nothing till I started learning about it. I'm like, oh my goodness, this woman was, and the things that every narcissist women or men have certain traits or things that they do. And if you don't catch on to those things, you're gonna be, with that person because they know what they're doing to keep you. It can be cooking, it can be cleaning, it can be doing things for you, and you're like, oh, I'm vibing with this person, but they're not.
Oh
They're,
yeah.
they
They're
see, you know what I'm
they're
talking about?
master manipulators, right?
They're,
Like they're
they're,
master manipulators. They
there
know
you
how
go.
to make you need them. And
Yes.
if you need them, then it's sleight of hand. I think we talked about that earlier on the show, is this idea of like, right, I can do this over here. So I'm kind, I'm chivalrous, and I'm providing, and I'm doing all these things that I can continue to break you down. I can continue to control you and manipulate
Hmm.
where you go, who you see, what you're doing on this end, and you're not going to feel this is me taking
Yeah.
control because you see all these good things. And so
Exactly.
yeah, like there's so many things.
Yeah, that's true.
And uh
But I think the most important thing in a narcissist relationship or before you get involved is to look for the signs, those red flags. Because a lot of individuals, men or women, don't know what CPTSD, or veterans like me, we know that PTSD is a big factor, or some do, some don't. And some of these women use that against a man. And that's why I really got it. Really, this past relationship really irritated me because this person was dealing with only veterans, but those veterans were not smart. They didn't have it all up there.
He
And I
was the
took a step back
master
and I said, wait a minute,
manipulator.
you're triangulating me with other veterans that she
Yeah.
was seeing or talking to or being with. And I was like, something
well,
like, like I said, you don't see
and
that till after.
and there's
You're like,
patterns, right? There's
yes, there you go.
patterns of I think that one of the things that we've definitely heard throughout the show today is that they're preying on
Yes.
people, right? So
Mhm.
so to prey on someone, you have to find someone who's weak enough to be preyed on. And
There you
and
go.
I'm gonna say, you said PTSD, but I would say another pattern is often narcissists end up with empaths.
Yes. Yes.
Often, right?
Yes.
And that is because an empath is going to be so understanding, right? Of
But and I know the empath plays the game too.
that's true. So, and we talk about this all the time:
Yeah.
is self-awareness and ownership of our own behaviors. And
Yeah.
but we're going to take a break right now and go to a commercial because I've got some things coming up that I want to talk about. Definitely, I've got some new podcast series showing, and you're going to watch a little bit about it right now.
Okay.
It's Brown Girl Interrupting, also known as Maria, and soon I am going to be venturing into a new project. So you might know me already as a blogger who writes, and now I am going to be moving from sharing my story to sharing the stories of others through interviews. So please stay tuned for the new show coming up on the YouTube channel for Brown Girl Interrupting called Pain to Power, Leading with Love. And it's going to feature different individuals who have taken pain and turned it into power by creating healing opportunities for others. So the first teaser that you have is an interview that was done just last week on January 9th with a social media popular guy named the Meme King for Real. And here's a little teaser of that interview. See you soon on Pain to Power, Leading with Love with Brown Girl Interrupting. Know that everybody is dying to know your story because you have some amazing things that you've been sharing in terms of relationships. And the power of what I've noticed is that you're able to not only impact the way women respond, but men respond to you too. And that's just a rare thing I've seen, is that anybody's content that can affect and really impact both men and women is pretty powerful. And it says a lot. So I got to ask you, was there a moment or like a moment in your life that ignited this whole desire for you to share your wisdom about relationships?
Well, if you wanna get like go back further than Mean King, there was a period of time in my life where I wasn't the best man. You know, I wasn't the best guy. I didn't love women properly. You know, I was pretty much not a good guy. And and before Meme King, back in about, I'm gonna say 2010, I decided I had broke a woman's heart. I had really hurt someone who really cared about me. She really loved me. Like she was what society likes to call, what we call ride or die. Like she was a ride or die woman, and I didn't treat her right at all. And after really hurting her, I woke up one day and I wasn't happy with myself at all. Not as a man, not as a dad, not as anything. And I made a commitment to myself to want to do better. I accepted who I was at that time and said, listen, you need change. If you ever want your sons to grow up and choose and be a man, you have to lead by example. If you ever want your daughter to grow up and choose a suitor, you want to lead by example. You want her to choose a suitor like you. So in order for these things to happen, you have to be the example. So I started working on myself, and it took me 6 years. 6 years of really tearing back the layers. 6 years of getting ugly, you know, really getting into it.
Yeah.
And I was finally healthy enough to love a woman back in like 2015, 2016 is when I finally arrived.
That's good stuff. She has an interview coming up Sunday, so make sure you subscribe to Brown Girl Interrupting so you can get that full story. And since we are coming to a close, and there was a question in the beginning, can you get rid of? Is it curable? How long does it last? Narcissism. First of all, you gotta want to change. That narcissist has to want to change. It will last a lifetime. You could be a narcissist forever, for the rest of your life, if you don't want change, if it is left untreated. And yes, a narcissist need counseling, because in order for them to want to be treated and know how to treat it, they have to want it. And I see this question: what if you're unaware if narcissism exists within? How do you become self-aware? Well, guess what? This is how you know. You got to come to Bettermindz LC on Instagram, DM me, and we'll get into more of this. Or go to the Facebook page, and we'll get into more of this. Contact Kingpin. He can also answer this question. You can find him on TikTok. Also, I enjoyed this topic. It was very necessary. It's very needed. And it may be another to be continued later on. Would you like to say anything else, Maria?
I think I appreciate that you brought this topic to our attention and that we really dug into it. I think hearing about all the different personalities of narcissism and how they show up has been really helpful for me. And I know from the chat and other information, like from what people are saying, it sounds like it helped a lot of people. And I think it goes back to just what Trini said is, we talk a lot about self-awareness and the process for taking accountability for yourself. So check out some of our old episodes. We talk about that accountability that comes from self-awareness, and but it's a journey, and the first step of the journey itself is to recognize that there is something that needs to change about yourself. And you know that when you look at the patterns of the people around you. If all the people around you are impacted in some negative way and are pulling back, you have to start to examine and recognize, what is it that I'm not doing? What is it that I'm not understanding about myself? So I think that's our starting step. And I know, again, we'll go a little bit deeper next time and maybe continue this, because I think there's a lot to unpack on narcissism. Thank you, Kingpin, for coming and joining us. We appreciate your time. And yes, as Trini said, just a quick one. G. Alford is the person I'm interviewing this Sunday, January 23rd. So if you haven't done it yet, go to Brown Girl Interrupting on YouTube and make sure you subscribe. You hit the notification bell, because at 9 o'clock on Sunday night, we are going to be live on Brown Girl Interrupting's YouTube page. So thank you, everybody. And thanks, Lovely T and Kingpin.
And as always, Kingpin, stick around for a little bit. As always, come and see us Thursdays, 9 p.m. Same bat time, same bat channel.
And thank you to our chat. And thank you to our chat and Logic, our producer, for look, this show happens for the magic behind it. So, and Kingpin, I'm sorry, you said you wanted to say something.
Yeah, I just wanted to leave off with something with the question that the young man asked. Just to sum it up, everybody, every man or woman, we're born with narcissistic tendencies. But if you're asking yourself if you're a narcissist, you're not. Because the narcissistic tendencies that we have are ourselves to protect ourselves. But narcissists don't think like that. They oversee those. They overstep their boundaries. When we do something wrong, we apologize. When we do something right, we praise. All these things that we look as normal things, they don't. That's why they continue with the same cycles over and over, because they're never held accountable for their actions, just like a spoiled child. So to answer his question, not every person that you're going to meet, man or woman, are narcissists. It's just that defense mechanism that we have, and then that's when you start looking for the red flags. And those, if you miss those red flags, that's when you really get embottled and trapped, or you get hooked onto that relationship. You know?
Yeah.
This is true.
Yeah. Red flags are key. Thank you.
And like I said, I appreciate y'all for bringing me on your channel. If y'all want to bring me on more, just let me know. I've got a lot of knowledge. I'm gonna drop another. I'm gonna do another video tomorrow on how do you know if you're dating a witch.
Oh, I like
you know
that.
What? And you know what's funny?
Out.
You know what's funny about that is the fact that in your family, there's witches and there's witchers, but you have to ask your family, because once that bloodline starts, it goes and continues, and you're gonna realize, wait a minute, my mom, my great grandmother was a witch, and see how the bloodline continues, because you start doing things that they used to do, like card reading. You know, a lot of people make money off cards, reading cards. But if it's not in your family, it doesn't matter. But if it's in your family, you know, because it's passed on from generation to generation. So it's a pretty interesting topic, because, you know, just like there's good witches, and just like anybody, you know, that vindictiveness, if you do somebody wrong, they're going to come back at you. But in the demonic world, the spiritual world, it gets a little bit more complex, because that's like I said, if you follow my videos, they start doing things to you and you don't even know it till you start catching on. And then that's when you feel overwhelmed with all this, because it's the evilness attacking you, but it can't attack you because you're protected by God. I mean, if you get a chance, I'm gonna try to break it down to 2 videos or 3 videos. But like I said, I spoke to some of my family members, and I've come to find out, wait a minute, that's pretty interesting, because their habits, the things that they do, slowly start to expose themselves. And once you educate yourself, you're like, wait a minute, you do this, and people that along those traits do the same thing, and they'll slowly start talking about it, because it's there. You just have to ask, you know. So that's what I'm gonna be doing my next video on how to know if you're dating a witch or a man, you know, witch, witcher, you know, both same thing. There's good and bad ones, but at the end of the day, they're all doing one thing. They're doing witchcraft, they're doing spells, they're doing magic to keep the person get back against a person or just do evil. You know, and I think I'm not sure your name, the one on the right side. I think you know what I'm talking about because you got that grin, that look on your face, like you know specifically know what I'm talking about. I'm not sure. I'm sorry. Don't take it bad. I'm not know nobody's names, but
Oh,
that's
sorry.
what I'm talking about. Yes.
I'm brown girl and red. Well, I'm
Okay. Yeah.
Maria,
I'm sorry. Like I said,
and
I'm new
that's
to this, but um, when you know you hit a topic, people's face gesture just change a little bit because
Mm,
they know specifically what you're talking about. You know, and also one last thing, a lot of these people that are narcissists used to be close to the church. Did you know that?
mm,
A
mm,
lot of these women and men fell, they walked away because they lost their calling. So that's, from my opinion, that's their punishment that God gives them because, you know, once God calls you and you ignore it, it's kind of like basically saying, God, you know what, blah blah you, and God's gonna be like, okay, we want to play that game, we can play that game. And when, like I stated, when we play with God, we're gonna feel the repercussions, and they're not nice. Look at me, I'm dealing with issues that I never expected in my life I would be dealing because I did that, and now I'm dealing with the after effects. God said, okay, you
yeah,
want to play dumb? Here you go. Here's a little
yeah.
taste of what I can do to make you feel who I am, you know?
Yeah.
Sorry to
Well,
hold.
you know, no, but it's complex. I think you just outlined a lot of complexities within
Yes.
it. So thank you,
Yes.
and thanks to all of you in the chat still with us. We appreciate it.
Mm.
But you know, thanks for the time, and thank you, of course, lovely T.
Yes,
Mm.
of course. And
Of
peace,
course.
love, and light, everyone. See you next
Yes.
time.
All right,
Yeah.
nice meeting y'all. Brown girl
Bye
and
bye.
Trini,
Jenny, nice meeting y'all.
stick
You
Like I said,
around.
too.
Don't
anytime
Thanks,
you want to
Stephen.
drive me up on, no, that's not a problem.
All right. Thank you.